Somebody sent me a clip of a black woman, one of our sisters in America, American African sister. She was dating two men and she got pregnant. She didn't know which man was the biological father, so she decided to invite both potential fathers to the baby shower. Both of the brothers came. They say, listen, we didn't like this, but this is the way it is. We appreciate you for being honest with us, and we are both going to be here. And whoever is the father, God bless him. And whoever is not the father, he can be the godfather. Now, somebody took issue with me holding LeBron James, Rich Paul, and Floyd Mayweather accountable for siding with the untouchable nation in their war. They said you had no right to do that. LeBron James, Rich Paul, Floyd Mayweather, and many other European-controlled athletes had every right to align themselves with a group of people who participated in African slavery and has never atoned for it, apologized for it, paid reparations, or been held accountable. Y'all say that the untouchable community is innocent. Well, let me say this to you. Are you aware that when there was a boycott against South African apartheid, I'm taking you back to the 90s now. I'm taking you back to the 90s. Are you aware that even when America decided to boycott South Africa, are you aware that when most of the world decided to boycott South Africa for practicing apartheid against our South African brothers and sisters? Shout out to my Xhosa family, my Khoi family, my Swazi family. Shout out to my Zulu family. Are you aware that when the whole world was boycotting South African apartheid, untouchable nation continued to support apartheid and supply the apartheid government with weapons and bombs to kill our South African brothers and sisters? Talk black to me, African family. Talk black to me, African family. Is LeBron James aware of that? Is Rich Paul aware of that? Is Money Mayweather aware that when South Africa was being boycotted for racial domination and destruction of our South African brothers and sisters, the untouchable nation, the nation of untouchables, continued to support South Africa? They did not care about our South African brothers and sisters. They continued to supply the apartheid government with weapons and bombs and support. What LeBron James got to say now? What Money Mayweather got to say now? What Rich Paul got to say now? Aligning yourself with a group of people that ain't never stood up for blacks. Aligning yourself with a group of people ain't never stood up for African people. Let me go to another topic. You cannot fool a historically conscious person. That is a direct quote from one of my ancestor psychologists, Dr. Asa Hilliard, fellow Leo. That is a direct quote from black psychologist, Pan-Africanist Dr. Asa Hilliard, Nana before. He said, quote, you cannot fool. He said you cannot oppress a historically conscious people. I'm changing it up. I'm saying you cannot fool a historically conscious person. Now, I want to go to one more thing. Somebody sent me a clip of a black woman, one of our sisters in America, American African sister. American African sister. She was pregnant with child, or she is pregnant with child. She was dating two men, two brothers, and she got pregnant. And she didn't know which man was the biological father. She didn't know which man was the biological father. So she decided to invite both potential fathers to the baby shower. People ridiculed her. They condemned her. What are you doing? That is trifling. How are you going to invite two men to the baby shower? I totally disagree. I totally disagree. Yes, she should have known who her child's father was. We all understand that. Yes, she should have known who her child's father was. We all understand that. Yes, she should have known who her child's father was. We all should have understand that. That was a mistake on her part. I'm sure she's aware. But I appreciate her honesty and integrity in dealing with the situation. How many black women do you know, if they are unsure of the father, is going to go to both men and say, listen, I slept with both of y'all this month. You was unprotected. My side piece had a condom on. It split. It came off. My loosey-goosey sucked it off. Whatever the case is, how many black women you know are going to go to the two men who could be the child's father and say, listen, I'm not going to play no games with you. I had sex with another man this month. I had sex within a 30-day period with two different men. I don't know which one of you is the father. I'm inviting both of y'all to the baby shower. How many women you know have that kind of honesty and integrity? How many women do you know have that kind of honesty and integrity? Most black women would have done what? Because I know a lot of men who found out later the baby wasn't theirs. I know a lot of men who found out later the baby was not theirs. I know a lot of men who found out later that the baby was not theirs. A lot of women will simply play Russian roulette with one man's emotions. A lot of women will simply play Russian roulette with one man's emotions, and they will simply take a guess. I think it's his, or I want it to be his. And they will play the whole pregnancy like it's one man's child. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Some of you sisters are guilty. Some of you brothers have experienced this. Some of you sisters are guilty. Some of you brothers have experienced this. Some of you sisters are guilty. Some of you brothers have experienced this when you're led to believe the child is yours only to find out after the child is born, or 10 years later, or 20 years later, or 30 years later when your child need a organ transplant, or your child need a blood transfusion, and you find out at your son's 21st birthday that you are not his biological father. You understand me? We got so many women who have done that to men. Blame them for being the father, accuse them for being the father, label them as the dad, and they never were. So I appreciate this sister being honest enough with these two men. And guess what? Both of the brothers came. Shout out to those two brothers. Both of the brothers came. They say, listen, we didn't like this, but this is the way it is. We appreciate you for being honest with us, and we are both going to be here. And whoever is the father, God bless him. And whoever is not the father, he can be the godfather. Whoever is not the father, he can be the godfather, because you can't expect a man to go through 9 months of wondering and wishing only to find out the child is not his. He can be the godfather. So shout out to the two brothers who were humble enough to respect this sister for being honest, who are humble enough to come to the baby shower and say, it is what it is. If this is my child, I want my child to know that I was there. If this is my child, I want my child to know I was there. And if this is not my child, congratulations to this other brother, and maybe I'll be the godfather. So I don't look at it the way y'all look at it. I think something has to be said for women who can be honest. Yeah, she was a little loose in the booty. Yeah, we know that. She was a little loose in the booty, but yet and still, she decided to be honest and come clean about her indiscretions, and I can respect that sister for that. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Our reality is reflected by the music, and the music impacts the reality. And unfortunately, just like social media, the content of most black media has nothing to do with our political agenda, our social circumstances, our intellectual